Hello again. Now in my last video I converted my homemade gramophone to work with vinyl records, and I did that by adding a bit of weight here so that the pin which I'm using only gives about 3.5 grams pressure on the record rather than about 50 that it was doing before. Now it's okay, but the volume still isn't very loud. This cone here is not much really of an amplifier. And the other issue I noted on the video, though not when I was actually making it, was that the needle or the pin wasn't really going into the groove particularly straight, and that might have accounted for some of the skipping that was experienced. So I'd like to experiment with different horns, but I think what I need to do first is actually put a proper hollow tone arm in here and actually move the horn arrangement up to here. Now, I ought to point out that in my previous video all the sound was coming from this camera up here. I did have another roving camera that I was taking shots down here off, and I'll probably do the same in this video. So if you're wondering why the sound always seems to be the same volume, it's because it's coming from a fixed camera. Anyway, I've hunted around in my workshop and found cardboard tube, some bits of plumbing supplies, bits of wood, and I'm hoping that out of these bits and bobs I'm going to be able to build a new tone arm for the same sound box, and probably initially the same horn, but to give me more flexibility in what I can do with a horn. So I haven't got all that far through. I've removed this from the old tone arm, and I've realised that I really have hot glue gunned it really very solidly so that this bracket and the cone or the horn are on very tightly. So what I'm thinking of doing is actually cutting the Pringle lid, which is what this bit is, off this back and putting a new back on. The new back is just a mini, a small CD. I'm not quite sure what they're called, but they're CDs that just have the same size hole as the original CD, but just aren't as big, and they're usually used as driver discs, or at least they were. And actually they're quite difficult to get hold of nowadays, unless you've got some old equipment, not so easy to find. So I thought it might be possible to use an ordinary size CD. This is just another driver disc for something that I would download off the internet if I really wanted the drivers, which I probably won't. So just very quickly, I'll draw around this with the mini CD, although I probably could have used the Pringle lid. I'm then using a pair of tin snips, and to be honest, I haven't tried this, so I've got eye protection on. I'm going to see whether it's possible to actually cut around. Make a back out of a full-size CD. It's not perfect, that's for sure. Yeah, it seems I can cut so far and then I get a crack. Well, it's hardly spectacular, but actually it might well do the job. Well, there's a spare Pringles lid. Now, probably a little bit of trimming and some tape, that will go on just fine and work. Now, I'm not proposing to build a whole new sound box, but frankly I probably could. So there we are, live on camera, cutting down a CD. To make up for the fact that these miniature CDs are actually not so easy to find nowadays. So, that was more successful than I thought it might be actually. Right, so there is the cut down CD taped onto the Pringle lid, which has got the is it tone bar? I can't remember what that's called, but anyway, the bar that has got the joint to the diaphragm. It's got the little rubber bit inside there for springiness. That's actually a mount out of an old bit of electronic equipment, and then goes down to the holder for the pin or the needle. So next stage will probably be to glue that on there and connect it up like so. I'm going to have to use a different horn because the existing horn, as I said, is on the back, which I can't really remove it, and I don't think I've got another bottle like that, but I'll have a hunt around and see. Right, it's all together now. So I've got the sound box down here. This is the front of my existing sound box, but the new back, so that's the cut down CD. And piece of copper piping there, just plumbing supplies, cardboard tube, a bit of a mount up there, and then some more plumbing supplies going to a cone there. And as previously mentioned, the sound is all to be recorded on this camera here. So the minute it's set up for 78s, and actually having done a few tests, it's probably better suited to 78s. It doesn't track very well at about less than 10 grams. If we turn on the scales, you should just be able to see there, it's showing about 12.8 grams. It varies a lot depending on quite where I put it down. So it's showing 13 there. So anywhere between 10 to 15 grams this is showing. Okay, time for a quick test. Now there is definitely sound coming out from here, but it's also quite noticeably coming out of this horn here as well. So no auto stop, unsurprisingly. So I've not built anything to do that. So this Jubilee clip here, or hose clip as you might know it by, is just really an adjustable weight. And I've got some magnets as well that I can clip onto any of these to actually adjust the weight. that the point is giving on the record. Other than that, it's a very simple construction and very similar to the one I did before, apart from the obviously main fact that the horn is now separate and it is pointing towards the camera, but in normal use, not that I suspect this will get any real normal use, it'll be pointing more towards the user, so more over in this sort of direction. I've got a few more ideas, so it's not really finished yet, but that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Mr. RG Stuff.